So this is it, the very last case study response. This week we're asked to look at the Hockaday case and Chapter 11. So the first question is, discuss how strategic communication is or should be involved in the Hockaday responder situation. Use your text as a resource. So in section 11.1, the text talks about the importance of using strategic communication and how being communicationally competent can increase the effectiveness of an organization's strategic communication plan. I do believe in the case of Hockaday, we actually see strategic communication at work. When the first incident occurred, Jim constructed messages to be shared with many external stakeholders. Not only did Hockaday reach out to the media, but they also communicated with the city experiencing the issues throughout the incident. I would say that they also shared this information with other stakeholders, since the country that was described in the second event was aware of the situation and had asked for extra support during the presidential visit. The text also describes in section 11.2 that the turbulent organizational environment of today requires cohesive, integrated communications. I think in Hockaday's case, they may want to incorporate a standard crisis communication plan that was described in section 11.4.13. I think overall that Hockaday seems to be a responsive company and an innovative company, but they could use a more defined communication plan moving forward in the future. The second question is, if you were to advise Jill about strategic communication, what would you say needs to be done? Is it different for the virtual team and other stakeholders? What does the text say? If I were to advise Jill, especially in regard to the virtual team, I would express the importance of internal communications in section 11.4.3. It talks about the importance of treating your employees as an important public. And I think that that might be part of the problem with the virtual team, is that they're not receiving that upward and downward communication that would make them more successful. In the case of the virtual team, there needs to be an open communication that ensures that they can tell the upward what needs to change. And then, of course, the information should flow downward as to what things to expect. Like maybe understanding that the diagnostic software was a new application and that there could be problems. If they had had that upward and downward communication, that may have come across more clearly. The text also talks about organizations who recognize the value of building long-term relationships with employees and how this can create more employee satisfaction. Now, I do think that Hockaday does a good job because they do practice using employee satisfaction surveys, which is kind of an environmental scanning, but it's an internal environmental scanning. And I think that this helps them to be able to understand what some of the problems are that the actual frontline employees are experiencing. The next question is, according to the text, what communication mistakes have been made and what are the strengths of what has been done? According to the text, the employee satisfaction surveys are an important part of creating a strategic communication plan. One could even say that it is part of the environmental scanning. Some mistakes have been made, but most of those lie in the interpersonal communication between the virtual team members and not so much on an overall organizational level. Another strength is that the company was quick to respond when a crisis presented itself. The text in Chapter 11 stresses the importance of quick response when crisis strikes, and I think that Hockaday is doing okay in that area. However, that being said, the virtual team, as well as the upper management team, need to spend some time coming up with crisis situational role plays and spend time brainstorming about possible future scenarios that could happen. If they were to do this and to incorporate more of a strategic communication plan, I think that that would improve their overall messages that are being sent out to the publics that they work in. And that is the last case study for this course. It's a pleasure. See y'all later.